and I can't wait to hear what she has to say. Ananya, stage is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be with you all today at this luncheon. What you're up to is awesome. Today, I want to share with you 3 lessons from my life. That's it, just 3 lessons. The first one is about asking what seem like crazy questions. To begin, who am I? Who is Ananya? That's my name. And what do I stand for? So, I believe that people with passion can change the world for the better. And I've had the opportunity to work with amazing people like that, people who have done it in big and in small ways. So where do I fit in the world? I like to build things to solve problems. My personal goal is to push humanity forward. To share my story really quickly, I started off when I was 13 cold emailing a research lab in Toronto. And they were super kind, and they brought me under their wing, and I learned all about gene editing. I ended up working on the team that cured muscular dystrophy in mouse models, and now they're on clinical trials. About 1.5 years ago, there was like the whole crypto explosion with people putting out a whole bunch of ICOs and new cryptocurrencies and tokens. And I remember it was 2017, so a bit before it reached its peak. I saw so many people were putting out ICOs, and I was like, if everyone can do it, I can do it. So I learned all about cryptocurrencies, made a few of my own. But the thing that was really interesting after was I realized that a lot of the problems in the gene editing world, when it came to data, could be solved by blockchain, which is the technology underneath cryptocurrencies. So I ended up building a platform to allow people to anonymously upload genetic information to research data sets. And even though they were anonymous, they could still get paid. And in order to make it anonymous, but you can still get paid, it used a lot of blockchain technology. The project ended up, thank you so much, getting moved into an organization called Consensus. Now I am leading a team at IBM. We're using machine learning to solve a really awesome problem okay, I'll just talk about it super fast, but I think it's so cool. So the problem is that if you have large code bases and you make edits to large code bases, sometimes it can cause errors really far away. So you need to make sure you're running the right test cases. But it's sometimes hard to make sure you're running the right test cases because there's so many test cases to pick from. So we're building a tool to allow that to happen in an awesome way. But the purpose of the story is that my story is only possible because I questioned assumptions. The reality is that I'm not supposed to be leading a team at IBM. I'm not supposed to have worked in gene editing. I'm sure as hell not supposed to think that I can actually change the world right now. As a 17-year-old, I'm supposed to not bash into the walls too much, go to school, get good grades, learn, talk about boys. And I realized that in this world, a lot of us are prisoners. The programming was unintentional, but now, honestly, I think a lot of us need to decide how much of our intellectual dependence we're willing to give up. Don't think, oh yeah, not me. I make my own choices. I'm a genius. I'm at this luncheon. Because we're probably the most likely people to fall for it. We've been checking boxes our entire lives. I honestly am not special. I think the only thing I did was different was realize that I could take a different path than the cookie cutter, go to school, and then go to university, and then get a job and go from there. We live, all of us, in bubbles and mini games within life. And if you don't enjoy what you do, get out. You're gonna die anyway. I personally didn't want to play the game of normal high school. It applies differently to you guys, but if you have the urge to go to Africa for a month, start a company, go into a totally different industry, start over, you totally can. Those are big things, so here are some smaller examples. As an example, try going to your favorite restaurant, or go to McDonald's, and order your favorite burger. Eat your burger, have the empty burger container, and then go back up to the counter and ask for a burger refill. It might seem weird, but a drink refill is totally okay. and drink refill turns into burger refill, and that's totally off limits. Or you could try sneaking into a college class to learn about a totally new subject, try singing Disney songs in the subway, talk to strangers in the elevator, try asking security in your building if you can visit the roof, ask a restaurant for a free meal, ask a janitor if you can help them clean. Why? Because the reality is that if we can't do the smallest, most inconsequential things that are different, we're going to spend our entire lives confined by what society deems to be normal. And the minute you leave and unshackle yourself from it, you are powerful. You gain back your freedom. And there's nothing you can't do, and that's why it's important. Steve Jobs said, "Remembering you're going to die is the best way to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart." Lesson number 2. Oh, and the reason I recommended those things is because I did all of them, and they actually turned out so much better than you think. Like, we got a free tour of the roof, I got free meals, it was awesome. Okay, lesson number 2. We need to improve ourselves, even though the incentives aren't really there. When we look back at humanity, we're kind of shocked. How on earth did we think the earth was flat? How did we believe that the sun revolved around the earth? How did we think that women were not equal to men? It is highly likely, in the near future, maybe 10 to 15 years, the next generation of people will look back at us right now and be totally shocked too. Think about Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube. We created these powerful forms of technology, and we use them to unabashedly make people worse versions of themselves. They do not care if children go to bed on time, do their homework, or are emotionally stable. It's not their job, but I think it's irresponsible to feed a system that's addicting people and making them worse. I really think that we must improve because technology is not helping us do that. Opening our minds to things we don't know about, becoming kinder, more compassionate, but instead we use tech to do the exact opposite. And I think it's in all of our best interests that we do better. It's a bit vague, so I'm going to share an example, which is brain-computer interfaces. So, if you think back in human history, we started off as hunter-gatherers. We would forage for our food, hunt down what we could find. Now we live in crazy cities. Like, if you think about it, it's insane. We started off with dirt, and now we have things that can record things. Like, that's crazy. But what's really fascinating, machine intelligence is increasing exponentially over time. We have now tools that can make crazy decisions. Machine learning, AI, quantum computing, reinforcement learning. It will totally change our evolution. The human brain has been totally stagnant over time. And a lot of really smart people, like Brian Johnson and Elon Musk, think that the only way we're going to be able to get the best future for humanity is if we increase human intelligence as well. Because there are a lot of problems that we're going to be facing in the coming decades, things like climate change, poverty, how we wish to govern society, the rise of populism, all these really hard challenges that they think can only be solved if we increase our brain's potential. And so something really interesting has been going on called brain-computer interfaces. So a brain-computer interface is a tool that lets you connect your brain to an external machine or computer. Ray Kurzweil, who used to be the head of engineering at Google, thinks that by the 2030s, we might just all have brain chips. There are companies like Kernel, Neuralink, Facebook, with hundreds of millions of dollars in funding developing neural interfaces. If you look at the research, it's actually insane. There's a study that was done at Duke University. They had one mouse at Duke and one mouse in Brazil. The mouse at Duke University had to press a series of buttons in front of it, and the mouse in Brazil also had the same buttons in front of it. Both of them were connected with brain chips. They both had brain chips connected over the internet. What they were able to do was the mouse at Duke University pressed a sequence of buttons, was able to communicate it to the mouse in Brazil through the brain chips, and the mouse in Brazil pressed the exact same buttons.
they've done really interesting studies at UC Berkeley where they're able to find out imagined speech, which means that with implanted electrodes, if you think of a word, they can find out what word you're thinking of. In the near future, people think that you might be able to download knowledge and skills. There was a study done with mice where they were able to get blind mice to get through a maze. And how they did it was implanting almost a blueprint of the maze into the mind of the mouse. And the mouse was able to successfully get through the maze. People honestly think that in the future we might have things like brain-to-brain communication. So instead of me talking to you guys today, you might just already know. And maybe it's not like me talking to you. Maybe it's like you talking to Siri. So that's brain-to-internet communication. Or maybe it's like something we can't even conceive of. And it will probably be like something we can't even conceive of. This is really far out, kind of far out, I don't know. People are actually thinking about how you might be able to merge our consciousnesses. And there's some awesome work being done in this space. Being quadriplegic used to be one of the largest medical mysteries, but with the help of brain-computer interfaces, they were able to allow paralyzed monkeys to walk. The way they were able to do it was so usually what happens is there might be like a break in your spinal cord, or a problem area in your spinal cord. So they were able to record your brain signals at the top of your spine, send them over the internet to be analyzed in the computer, send them back to the tail end of your spinal cord, where they re-stimulated the same signals, essentially bypassing the fissure in the first place. DARPA, which is the US military, has created mood-controlling brain implants. How they work is, right now they're being used for PTSD. So when they sense an episode is about to come on, they can combat the episode with alternate signals, or stimulation. Oh, people have done interesting stuff where when you're in a dream, they can read your dream. So they can find out if you're happy in a dream, if you're sad in a dream, if you're running in a dream, if you're talking in a dream. And people think that in the near future, you don't have like VR with like a clunky headset, and everyone's like, this isn't real. Sometimes when you dream, you think you're living real life. So what if you could program your dreams to create a VR dreamlike state? Virtual reality dreamlike state. People think that, let's say your brain is connected to the internet, and you're living in a virtual reality dreamlike state, you could potentially experience living someone else's life. You collect all of their inputs, and then you re-stimulate their inputs in your brain. It could eliminate isolation and allow for true empathy, but it would totally redefine what it means to be human. This technology is actually crazy. But with crazy technologies, it's important we ask ourselves critical questions. What if your brain could be hacked? If we're really trying to increase humanity for happiness and fulfillment, is this the best path to go down? I don't know. I actually got involved in the brain-computer interface space because I was really scared. I didn't think this field should be developed at all. But fields with huge profit incentives don't just stop developing. So I had to learn more, and I ended up building brain-controlled prosthetics, brain-controlled cars, working with Microsoft, building brain-controlled VR games. The future is changing so quickly. Like it's going like this, like it's an exponential curve. If I were to take 200 steps, I would probably end up over there. If I were to take 200 steps exponentially, I would end up at the moon. Exponential curves are things we can't even conceive of as humans with linear minds. And I guess the purpose of like learning and improving yourself is because it's not just brain-computer interfaces. It's not just brain-computer interfaces. There are so many other technologies that will totally redefine what it means to be human. Genetics, you can literally edit your biological code. Phage therapy is pretty much a cure for antibiotic resistance. It's awesome. They use it in a couple countries around the world. Machine learning will transform every industry. Nuclear fusion, human longevity. Oh, human longevity is sick. People think that they can actually cause people to live to like 150, having like a great health span so you don't get sick and then you just drop dead, which is arguably better than aging and then dying. Yeah, there's so many technologies that will change the world, so I guess I challenge a field that you're totally unrelated to. Because I think the only way we're going to get the best future for humanity is if we actually ask critical questions about technology that's being developed. Neuralink, which is Elon Musk's brain-computer interface startup, is pretty much operating in stealth mode. So is kernel and so is Facebook. And the thing about developing in stealth mode is that it gives you free reign. You can do whatever you want until you eventually pop out and it's too late for anything to be changed. And the reason why it's fine is because most of the public isn't aware about these technologies that will totally change our life. And if you're not aware, you can't ask questions because people will have different opinions on these things. Like, some people would love to live in VR dreamlike states for their entire life. And some people would have some sort of value for whatever this real life is. Some people, there's just a whole bunch of different, some people would love to know if they're going to get Alzheimer's as they age and get their gene sequenced, whereas other people would rather live in ignorance if there's nothing they can do about it. So that's why it's super important to go and learn about, so if you want to, like, these are good starting points, these 10 things to get started. But yes, learning is super important. Definitely spend your time learning about things that seem unrelated because it's the only way we're going to get the best possible future for humanity. Lesson number 3. Gratitude. Always be grateful. I've been really lucky to get a chance to travel the world and I've met amazing people. But oftentimes I meet people who are sad. Why are people so sad? Why are people so angry? We have such a limited time on this planet, and I know I would rather be happy than sad. And there was something that I started doing recently that really changed my life, and I thought that I would share. So sometimes I would find myself getting annoyed at really little things. So I'd be like, oh, I have to wait 10 minutes for this Uber. Or I'd be like, oh, I got to go grocery shopping. Or like, oh, I have to wait. It's like the middle of the night, I haven't started my physics homework, and I have like 5 hours of work. And then I saw something really powerful on the internet, which was change your got-to-dos to your get-to-dos. So it became, I get to wait 10 minutes for my Uber and just chillax in here with some time to myself, and then all of a sudden my car will magically pick me up and transport me to where I want to go. That's awesome. I get to just snuggle in my bed and not worry about my safety and learn physics, which billions of people across the world don't have access to. And I get to do all these things in the middle of the night. I'm so lucky. Or once my parents were arguing, it made me really sad. And then I was like, I get parents, and I get parents who love me. And that one word was a huge paradigm shift for my life. And I don't think I've honestly been sad since. And also, a powerful tool is it's hard to appreciate things if you've never gone without them. So, for example, I know I should be appreciative for my fingers and for my toes and for my ability to breathe. But sometimes it's hard because you've gone with it your entire life. How are you supposed to be appreciative of something you've never lived without? So I started doing really awesome experiments to change my life. I went 2 weeks sleeping on the floor. And now, every time I sleep in my bed, I'm so happy. Or I went a week taking only cold showers, and every time I get in the shower, it's like instant happiness. And there's so many little things that you can go without that when you start getting back, it's awesome. And I spent some time thinking on my deathbed, I don't want to feel regret. How do I do that? And I realized, always be grateful. If I'm truly grateful, I'll be happy for the life I lived. Because I'm grateful to get the chance to have lived life. I could have been born as a mosquito or something. And I wouldn't have had the chance to meet amazing people and go through all the emotions I've been through and had all the ups and downs. So I think gratitude is something that everyone should work on because it's super powerful. I hope you take away the idea that there is work that we can all do on ourselves. Work and reflection that puts us in a position to be excellent. And it is oftentimes thankless work because nobody sees it, nobody values it,
Everybody derides it if you talk about it. But this work has the possibility to change your life. So question assumptions, go learn something new, and always be grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much. It actually means a lot.